3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Virus database has been updated.
Like the sky, and your spirit is one with me. Your wings span mighty ocean. Your eyes see everything. The slightest of your motions can make the continents ring. Yet in all your might and glory, vanished from the sky, leaving just another story, mixed millions of man-made lies. They tell of how you fell from the sky, you once proud.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas. And my guest today is Gordon Duff from Veterans Today. Gordon, welcome.
Clay, it's good to be on board today.
It's great to have you here, sir. It's I had planned a little different show than we're going to do today, but circumstances over the weekend dictated that we discuss this. We have a lone gunman, another guy with 3 names, and shot down a federal judge who I think was a pretty important federal judge, and a 9-year-old girl. And, within 1 hour of this happening, ABC News was on the horn to me, wanting to know if I knew the shooter. Why would they do that? Why would they do? Well, you've got the Free American website. Yes, I do. Now it just so happens that Congressman Gifford, who I happen to think was a pretty decent congresswoman, happened to be Jewish. This is why ABC News called me. But what we've later learned is that the guy that shot her was Jewish too, but they still haven't lost any time trying to point the finger at the Tea Parties, at this type of the right wing, the racist, the conspiracy theorists. Look, this guy believed in conspiracies. I think they're setting us up.
Hey, Clay, one of the first things here, and this is something I'd written about here in the last couple of days, when you're talking about the Sherlock Holmes thing, Occam's razor, that, what's the most likely place to run? I'm sorry, when somebody murders a bunch of people out in the street, I'm going to think conspiracy about this. Now, we can start here with the end of the show right now and just get it out.
Just one moment. Before you start in that, I want to make an announcement, and this relates, because this is part of the propaganda that's coming in. This Westboro church out of Topeka, Kansas, is supposed to organize a protest here in Tucson at the funeral of this little 9-year-old girl, and I am almost as outraged by that as I am by this and the media attention that they're getting for this. They're trying to point the finger at our soldiers, at our veterans again. Somehow this is all, they're trying to link all this. Go ahead, sir. I'm going to be there. By the way,
the Westboro thing. Now, Veterans Today. This is our website, which heaven forbid we still stand with our soldiers and veterans. The Westboro people, I have a lot of trouble dealing with exactly who they are, because politically They're not only extremely to the right, they're an extreme, they're a pro-war group that loves dumping on our soldiers. They don't make any sense at all. I certainly have a lot of readers that have indicated a desire to deal with these people, and of course, whenever the Westboro guys go up, it's Veterans Today readers that show up on motorcycles to
we are doing that again. They're riding down from Phoenix. I'll be here from Tucson, and any other biker I know will be lining that street. And God help them, better help them if they show up.
We've had enough violence, but
won't be any violence. Won't be any violence.
I've had enough crazy people. Let me get this one out before that brain cell explodes, because you and I aren't all that young anymore, Clay. But let's label this Arizona shooting. Initially, it's what it is. I have two individuals in a parking lot. These two individuals, I've got a federal judge who in one day got 200 death threats. That's a record, by the way. Federal judges have been targets for a very long time. Arizona's a key place that people, open carry state. A lot of independent folks in Arizona, good or bad, independent folks. And a federal judge in Arizona, he has security. Federal judges all have U.S. Marshals for security. U.S. Marshals exist to serve federal judges. That's what they are. U.S. Marshals are the bailiffs for federal judges. A federal judge doesn't drink coffee without a U.S. Marshal standing next to him. One that's been threatened, one that has 24/7 protection. Excuse me for using that term, by the way. Now, I've got him in a public parking lot at a rally, mind you. A perfect, if people get shot down, it was almost, you couldn't have staged this better, or wait a minute, or was it? Not only that, we've got a member of Congress who is the most threatened single member of Congress we have. No one has been threatened as much as this woman has. Now, not only are these two people together, two high-profile targets, but our member of Congress has a video crew with her all the time. They all do. It's a CYA thing. In order to cover themselves, she is continually videoed. She keeps a significant video site on YouTube, and everything she says in public goes on that YouTube site. Her video crew wasn't there for some reason, or certainly the videos aren't. And not just that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Her political party had him, his YouTube site, one or two that she subscribed to.
Well, we noticed that. We wonder how these things happen, but these are complexities here. I'm going to do the KISS thing first. The next thing is that the Tea Party / Republican Party videos our Congresswoman here continually also. Whenever she appears in public, they have a professional video team with her, following her, waiting for her to say something really stupid. So there are two professional video teams. There were supposedly not just two professional video teams, but at least two United States Marshals that must have been beamed up to the USS Enterprise because they weren't there. The next thing is the response time. Not only do we have two high-profile targets that should have had police on site normally, you never have a rally like this without police security. It's unthinkable. Anybody here, and I know I'm talking to people well outside, Arizona. I'm talking here from Toledo, Ohio. Our mayor in Toledo, Ohio, if he's at a supermarket opening, the chief of police is standing next to him as security. It's what police do. As a matter of fact, anytime, and I'll tell you why they do it. Whenever someone's going to be photographed, or they weren't photographed, the video people were missing also. But police are always there to be seen as a public police presence. They are there as a public relations exercise. It is standard police policy. It is inexorable. It is always done. Instead, the nearest police car, mind you, and this isn't that big a city, Tucson, you're a big city to yourselves, and I love Tucson, I love all the people there, but how do you end up with the closest police car you had was 10 miles away? 15-minute response time for police on a shooting of this scale? 15-minute response? It was a 15-minute response for an event that should have had at least 6 police there, 2 U.S. Marshals, and the video teams that never showed up. Then we've got this young gentleman, and that's your slam dunk. Something severely wrong there. You can't explain your way out of this one. Something wrong. So conspiracy isn't a theory based on that. The next step we go to, and this is one I can't deal with here. I get this photo of this young gentleman here, and we've got a bunch of kids around the house here, a little older, mind you, but kids. I see this maniacal picture of him with his hair cut off. I'm pretty sure I know where that photo comes from. That's the photo of a kid who believes he was entering the United States Army and got a haircut for that. There'd be no other reason for that. That's a kid who believed at that time, when that photo that's being used to damn him as a monster, as personally liable. That photo is the photo, like so many other American kids, of a kid who believes he's serving his government, serving his country, serving his people. That's where the photo comes from. Now, we're painting this kid as a monster. We're painting the Tea Party, Sarah Palin. The left and right are playing their games over this while something else is going on behind. But let's take a look at this kid and find what doesn't make sense. If there's a conspiracy here, and this is our job to get to the realities of things. In 2008, our shooter indicates that he's entering a program to get into the U.S. Army. Now, the varying sides that are finger pointing say that he was a druggie or this or that. That isn't panning out. That's turning out the lefty druggie stuff. The books he read. I'm sorry, they listed him. He was reading Mein Kampf. Well, that would make him a right-winger. And then he read Karl Marx. That would make him a left-winger. The books, all of this, all of the testimony about this kid, it is all totally phony. All of the history on this kid is totally phony. The only real thing we know is that for 3 years, now, we're in the middle of a war. We have bank robbers who are serving in the U.S. military right now. It doesn't take a lot of convincing to get a recruiter who is threatened with firing from his job. That means being thrown out of the military, being unemployed, losing your medical benefits. They live under a horrible threat. Military recruiters are the highest single suicide group within the military. Well, these military recruiters work like nobody's business to get substandard candidates into Iraq, Afghanistan, and onto the VA rolls for life as permanent psychiatric patients. That's pretty much been their job. It's what we've been doing for the last decade. And I don't care if you smoked marijuana, or you've driven through a plate glass window, or gone out on New Year's Eve and shot up a school bus. Chances are you're going to end up in the United States Army if you show up at the recruiting office. You're going to be in Afghanistan walking up and down hills with a rifle. They call them moral waivers, and the moral waivers there, as when I was in Vietnam, I had people with criminal records as long as your arm with me. I didn't necessarily enjoy it. As a matter of fact, we worry about don't ask, don't tell. With some of the people that we're being told are serving in our military, the guys are telling me they'd rather have entire homosexual units than some of the crazy people they've been sent. That's not so much the case. This kid now, let's look at the
Now let me inject one thing here. What's really struck me when I looked at this kid. Now, we already know that his family's Jewish. That they went to the same synagogue as the Congresswoman, supposedly, according to at least the reports that I have.
And Clay, you're getting to the heart of one of a couple of potential plots.
Okay, here's the other one. Here's the other one. This photograph that you mentioned, I was just trying to find that to put it up on my website. But you know what? It makes it look like he was a skinhead, and they've tried to point the finger at the right wingers. You know, I don't. Frankly, I think it's a false scale here.
What he looks like is a soldier. I'm sorry, that's what they do. Look at the military now. I ran around Vietnam with hair over my ears and a mustache. You know, that was then. Today, buzz cut, skinhead, you know, and this is, of course, we're in a manic subject change mode here now. I was reading the Mother Jones article about, one of his friends came on and talked about his beliefs where he was going to see himself as flying or whatever. Well, the entire Mother Jones article came out of a book, Tales of Power, by Carlos Castaneda. It's like whoever the author of that article was had read that or one of the other Castaneda books, probably Journey to Ixtlan or Separate Reality. But these were popular New Age books from the late 1960s, early 1970s.
Read them, yes, sir.
Yep. Matter of fact, about Arizona, very much based in Arizona. But popular and pretty much harmless books about Native American shaman culture. And that's what this was a discussion of, that was misrepresented as the cult. I'm sorry, nobody who reads Carlos Castaneda goes down to supermarkets and shoots people up. Anyway, the point I'm belaboring here today is that this kid is in this hiring process where a normal Army recruiter will have you in Afghanistan before you've exhaled. This kid's in a recruiting process for 3 years. And this is where I run to on this. This is my conspiracy today. I'm announcing it. I'm the conspiracy supremacist that the Washington Times says I am. For 3 years, when you're going continually down to some recruiting program over and over for 3 years, you don't have a recruiter. Clay, you've got a handler. And when this kid showed up, I think they had a line A and a line B. The line A, as far as I'm concerned, is lone gunmen apply here. Line B, patsies to be blamed on the other line. This kid had the skill set they wanted. He was a lone gunman for 3, and anyone who thinks that the government doesn't work in mind control, well,
the number of people he killed, he had to be trained in the use of that weapon. Don't you think?
Oh yeah. It's not just trained in the use of the weapon, but there is nothing in this kid's history, and they're trying to manufacture one here, that not only justifies this, he has no history of politics. I'm sorry, he's not a Zionist activist, he's not a Tea Partyite. His occasional mentions about literacy on this YouTube site here with 317 views when I downloaded it, although it's in the millions right now. This stuff could have been made by someone else using his IP address in 15 minutes. Matter of fact, I can't think of a young person who would use the music in these videos. If anything, I'm saying this, not only the videos are phony. That's it, and prove me wrong. The videos are phony. And I'm saying, let's go ahead and say it, the Army did the videos. His Army MK Ultra handlers did the videos. Now, let's just say that, and they plan to have him do this because it serves some other purpose. That's the most obvious thing. Now, prove me wrong. That's the first thing. As with Fort Hood, that's the first thing. And it all a part of the same series of instant thaw out and send them out terrorists. The crotch farmer, Fort Hood, and anybody that thinks that Fort Hood was Islamic terrorism didn't check on the background of the Fort Hood shooter as a Washington defense insider. We tracked his background down, and for a psychiatrist, he tended to hang out with defense contractors and special ops contractors when he was in Washington at Walter Reed a bit too much. Something seriously wrong there. And of course, was he a psychotic? Obviously, he was a psychiatrist. They're all crazy. Anyone have any questions about that has ever seen a psychiatrist. And whether we want to admit it or not, most Americans have. And if you want to know what the worst mistake you've ever made in your life was, seeing a psychiatrist or taking a pill. But that's, and this is somebody who, looking after veterans is supposed to be my life. I'm a PTSD vet myself. And I'll tell you that our military, this is another one of my asides, they estimate that 25% of our active duty veterans, active duty soldiers serving overseas in theater are on antipsychotic meds. Not just this, we are finding that more and more of the medications that our troops are being given, and this isn't some sort of imaginary scare, but the side effects of the legal medications we're giving people are causing, and this is something we're going to be dealing with in the next week or so, we have solid evidence that medications given our troops are causing mass suicides.
Yeah, more Vietnam vets have committed suicide here in the United States than were killed in Vietnam, sir.
Well, the number, and of course I remember the CBS Westmoreland lawsuit. Vietnam veterans all came home. They were all patted on the back. They all got nice jobs. They all lived forever. Well, I'm sitting here, 62 years old, and I've outlived almost everyone. Of 2.9 million, it used to be 2.4, and they've bumped up the number to 2.9 million. The Department of Veterans Affairs is able to locate and identify as still alive, as of a year ago, 711,000 veterans. Now, that makes the average life expectancy for a Vietnam veteran 45 years. I think that's probably under the national average for Somalia, not just the United States. But back to our young gentleman here. Now, the things that we don't do, we never ask those hard questions, the cop questions, means, motive, and opportunity. Now, why was the kid the shooter he was? How was he able to get there? Why would he do what he did? Why were there no police? Why was there no video when we have a political rally that was going to be on YouTube suddenly wasn't videoed? Why was there no police presence? Why was this kid in a 3-year program of going into the military? 3 years of this. And anyone wants to deny that MK Ultra is real and that the U.S. does nothing but recruit terrorists. Now, if I want to thank the U.S. for something, or the U.S. and their friends in Israel for something, I want to thank you, is that this phony terror plot from a couple of months ago, and I bet nobody remembers this, but the terror plot where there were supposedly bombs in packages being sent to a Chicago synagogue. They were bombs inside Hewlett-Packard printer cartridges.
Yes.
And then, of course, we found out that they weren't really going to Chicago. They weren't going to synagogues. Somebody made that up in the press. Thank you. You know, why Helen Thomas is my hero. That was made up and reported everywhere. Not only that, well, the packages never actually left Yemen because they never existed. But because of that, if you go to an airport, you're going to be x-rayed, and it's not safe. Definitely not safe. And if you're not x-rayed, you're going to be sexually assaulted and watch your children be sexually assaulted. and it's nothing but sexual, and it is not the fault of TSA employees. Many, if not most, are veterans. They are underpaid. They are abused. And although people have trouble with TSA employees, and I can understand why TSA employees would develop work-related psychoses, I can definitely understand.